Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new edition of our show, Backstage. This first edition is actually a very special one because we have somebody who came from very, very far away. Right now it's from Bucharest, but before that he came from America. We're talking about Adrian Zuckerman, the US Ambassador to Romania, who has a very atypical profile because he was born in Romania. Mr. Zuckerman, welcome to Iasi.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
To what do we owe the pleasure of your visit to our city?
Well, it's a beautiful city. I was here before in January for the small unification celebration, and it's been too long, and I decided to come back and visit. I visited your magnificent agricultural university this morning, and I met with the rector and the dean, and I have to tell you, it's an absolutely spectacular facility, and the rector, I think, is one of the best rectors, clearly the best one in Iasi, but he is just world-class. The programs that they have instituted to develop Romanian agriculture are just spectacular. He's established programs with several universities in the United States, exchange programs. He has set up programs that deal not only with a variety of agricultural issues, but also with the economics, financial, and other issues that impact the agricultural business today. And I also had an opportunity to meet some of the students there, and they were just first-rate, very, very impressive. It's a wonderful institution. I'm also going to meet, I met earlier with Amazon. I'm going to meet with Delphi later and meet with a few other people tonight. So it's a full day for me. And of course, the highlight is being here with you.
You're so kind. I remember that from your Aspen Institute discourse that you really focused on the agrarian part of Romania and that you put a highlight on the potential our country has on that. And this is something that we really want that our country has in relation to the US. Are you thinking about some specific topics to develop in terms of this particular network?
That's a wonderful question. Agriculture in Romania has a tremendous potential. Romania, as you know, and I suppose most of your viewers know, used to be known as the breadbasket of Europe. I think it can reclaim that title very quickly. I think it has areas in its agriculture program which are just spectacular, first-rate, such as their wine business. Wine growth and development is second to none, in my opinion. They just don't get enough credit for it. They need additional marketing, financial growth and development, and they can compete with any wine in the world. I think corn, wheat, soybean, other production are tremendous. Sunflower seeds they were the #2. Romania was the #2 producer in Europe. There is an enormous potential. It has not fully achieved that potential. I think with universities such as the Agriculture University here, they can absolutely meet that potential. We are also working with the Agriculture Minister to assist to overcome natural events such as the drought that happened earlier this year. We are working to develop and finance irrigation channels that would eliminate the impacts of drought years. We are working with financial institutions to help farmers smooth out good and bad years and finance growth and development. And we are also working with the Agriculture Minister and others to develop the next stage of agricultural growth, which is to export produce so that you have the refined grains being exported, not just the raw grains, which I think will all benefit Romania.
That's a great vision. We hope that it will transform into reality. We have many subjects on the table, but I have to ask you, would you like to go from micro to micro or other way around?
I leave that to you. Go ahead and test me. We'll see how it works out.
We can see that you have Latin roots because you're a gentleman. So let's start from macro. What is your view on the results from the election in the USA?
I think the important thing as the election in the USA winds down is that there be confidence in the electoral process and that people have confidence that everybody's vote counted and everybody's vote is valid and that the process was fair and that there was no inequity. There can't even be the appearance of inequity because that undermines the democratic process. We value that overseas, we value that at home, and I think the process is very, very important so that at the end of the day, everybody has to have 100% confidence in the outcome of the election. And until that process ends, I suppose there is no real outcome, but there has to be confidence in the process. So as that winds itself down, we'll see what happens.
Are you sure you're not Swiss because you're very diplomatic in these terms?
I think I'm supposed to be diplomatic.
So basically you just eliminated my next question, if there are going to be any changes in the case of the strategic partnership between the US and the Romanian situation.
Let me try to answer your question. I'm not sure that there was a question there, but let me try to answer your question a different way. I think that Romania has no better friend than the people of the United States. I have said that repeatedly. I think we've proven that over the last year. I think whether or not there's a change in the White House, I think the people of the United States will remain Romania's best friends, and we will continue to pursue the projects and initiatives that we have commenced. Those projects and initiatives are important to Romania, they're important to Europe and our NATO allies, and they're important to the United States. Romania is also one of the United States' best friends, and it's a very close relationship as proven by many of the things we've started this year, and there is no doubt in my mind that that will continue into next year.
I must admit that I did some research on your speeches in the last year since you became the Romanian ambassador.
I hope they didn't bore you very much.
No, actually they were quite interesting, and there's something that I actually noted down. Romania is open for business but not for sale. Could you detailliate us a little bit on that quote?
Romania is in an interesting position. I think it's an oasis on the eastern side of Europe. It is a fiercely democratic country that emerged from communism 30 years ago. Unfortunately, as President Iohannis has said, the job that was started 30 years ago has to be finished. In the first round of privatization, that went well, but perhaps not as well as possible. I've often referred to a variety of red barons that still have influence. I've also referred to various instances of endemic corruption that have to be eliminated. I've also referred to a variety of shortcomings and problems in the former government that have to be addressed and redressed. I'm a strong believer, as is the United States, in the paramount importance of the rule of law. There is nothing if you don't have the rule of law. So Romania has a huge potential to pursue free market business practices, but they in fact have to be free market subject to the rule of law. There cannot be any business where the rule of law is not followed and there is no transparency.
Jean-Paul Sartre, a French philosopher, said that we're condemned to freedom. If you were to go back in time, in December 2019, when you were named the Ambassador of the United States to Romania, would you have still chosen the same path?
In becoming the ambassador
Yes.
to Romania? Oh, yes. I think I'm quite honored to be here. I can't thank President Trump enough for having confidence in me in sending me to Romania. And I also can't thank the Romanian people enough for accepting me and trying to pursue some of the initiatives that we've commenced. In particular, we've had a great relationship with Prime Minister Orban's government in pursuing a variety of initiatives. I want to thank President Iohannis, who's done an amazing job, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
It's very nice of us to hear that, because we actually feel you like one of ours since you were born in Romania. And it was very, how should I say, it was a very sincere speech, the one you gave last December, when you said that you really want to fight against corruption and bureaucracy. And I'm really curious about the way you saw these elements from outside Romania and how you see them from inside.
Well, you always get a better view of things from the inside, but I think that the best way to answer that is to address a lot of the progress that I think we've made in the last 9, 10, 11 months, I guess 11 months or so since I've been here. One of the most important, for example, is the government's work against trafficking in persons. That was one of my top priorities before coming here. It's closely related to the rule of law. We insisted that human trafficking be eradicated. We think it's despicable and shameful, and it has no place in Romania. I work very closely with Prime Minister Orban, the Interior Minister Vela, the Justice Minister Predoiu, General Prosecutor Scutea, to set up programs to eradicate and eliminate trafficking. I think that's working. They've made, I think if you've read the news or seen the news lately, you have seen numerous arrests, numerous prosecutions. In addition to that, one of the issues that has been lacking with regard to trafficking is the availability of shelters and help for the many victims, the human victims of trafficking, those people being trafficked. We've worked very closely with Prefericitul Daniel in Bucharest, with IJM, with the new mayor of Bucharest, Nicușor Dan, and again with the Prime Minister. We're in the process of setting up residences and shelters for trafficked women, where they will get not only housing and food and safety, but also the professional services, medical, psychiatric, religious counseling that they need so that they are able to become fully functional members of society and put behind them the trauma of being the victims of such a heinous crime, which I think is just despicable and it has no place here. And it's just a disgrace. And I'm just very, very proud of Ministers Vela and Predoiu. They announced a zero tolerance policy earlier this year. The three of us together made an announcement to that effect, and I think they're pursuing it as zealously as possible, and I am just very, very proud of their work.
Ambasadorul Statelor Unite ale Americii, Adrian Zuckerman, a venit pentru a doua oară la Iași. Excelența sa a vizitat două companii americane, dar și Universitatea de Științe Agricole și Medicină Veterinară. Ambasadorul s-a întâlnit și cu primarul Iașului, Mihai Chirica.
Este a doua vizită din acest an, un motiv în plus de mulțumire pentru atenția pe care o acordă Iașului, regiunii de nord-est și României. S-au discutat mai multe probleme legate de prezența companiilor americane în municipiul și județul Iași, posibilității de extindere a acestei activități, susținerea pe care Ambasada Statelor Unite o acordă unor proiecte majore din regiunea de nord-est, mai ales în ceea ce privește comunicațiile, autostradă și cale ferată.
Ambasadorul Statelor Unite ale Americii și primarul Chirica au discutat în special despre activitatea companiilor americane în Iași.
Iași e un oraș absolut spectacular. Trebuie să fie mai multe investitori americani aici. Am văzut oficiile lui Amazon ieri, am văzut fabrica de la Borg Warner. Trebuie să fie mai multe aici și trebuie să fie dezvoltate infrastructura, calele ferate, șoselele și cred că o să începem să lucrăm la asta în viitorul apropiat.
Zuckerman a mai precizat că Statele Unite sunt pregătite să ofere ajutor medical României, dar și consiliere în urma tragediei de la Spitalul Județean Piatra Neamț. Ambasadorul a afirmat și că spitalele din România au nevoie de ample modernizări.
E o mare tragedie și vreau să spun din nou că trimit condolența nu numai din partea mea, dar din partea președintelui Trump și din partea poporului american la toate familiile care au pierdut un membru în acest dezastru. Și vreau să urez la toți care au fost răniți să se facă bine cu o tragedie groaznică care sper să nu se întâmple din nou și e un lucru care poate să fie evitat, sper, dacă toate spitalele și alte clădiri au sisteme de stins incendiile și de safety moderne. Dar, din păcate, când ai clădiri vechi, nu se poate face nimic peste noapte, dar spitalele trebuie să fie inspectate și făcute, modernizate, cu cât mai iute, cu atât mai bine.
Ambasadorul Statelor Unite ale Americii susține că America este cel mai bun prieten al României și a subliniat că relația dintre cele două țări nu se va modifica indiferent de rezultatele alegerilor de peste ocean.
Mr. Ambassador, since we talked about going from macro to micro, and because we say that we are good neighbors, I would like to ask you about what do you think about the elections in Moldova?
We are very heartened about the results in Moldova. It appears as though Maia Sandu is the new president of Moldova. I think it's a refreshing result. I think it's a result that harkens the resolve of people that wish to be free and believe in democratic systems and believe that Moldova should look to the west and not to the east. And we are very proud of the people of Moldova for choosing freedom and democracy over tyranny.
For us, it's very warming also because I might say because she's a woman, and I really appreciate women who have the courage and power to go into politics because it takes a lot of effort and sacrifices, and because she stands for something more than a person can be. She stands for an ideal, And that's just my point of view. I do not represent Romania or another state as you do.
Yeah. Let me just add that we congratulate Maya Sandu on her victory.
Coming closer to us, we appreciate your message in the context of the Piatra Neamț tragedy. And we know that you transmitted to the Prime Minister that you will assist a plan to review and modernize and rebuild all hospitals in Romania. More specifically, what does that mean?
Let me just add before I answer that. I think that's a terrific question again, but before I answer that, let me just say again that I want to transmit our very, very heartfelt condolences to all of the families that lost loved ones in the hospital. It's a tragedy without parallel, and we share their pain and anguish, and we feel terrible about it. So please accept President Trump's, mine, and the people of the United States condolences for your very tragic losses. I also want to wish all the injured victims of the fire a very speedy and healthy recovery, especially those heroes, first responders, and the physician that put his own life in danger to try to save other patients. So thank you to all of you, and I wish you all a very speedy recovery. With regard to infrastructure development, which is really what you're talking about, we've been having many discussions with Prime Minister Orban, Transportation Minister Bodie, and others in the Orban government to aggressively start a rebuilding program. We will help in financing, developing such programs. As you know, I have recently made an announcement that we're going to pursue building a highway that would unite Constanța on the Black Sea to Gdansk on the Baltic, and we will also pursue building a railroad that will follow the same general path. I think those two projects are absolutely essential to the development of Romania, Poland, and all of Eastern Europe. That type of project is absolutely necessary to the economic development of Romania. To do that, you need experts in highway construction, railroad construction. As part of that type of project, we will also look at other infrastructure. The same approach can be brought to reviewing hospital buildings and other infrastructure, where we will help the people of Romania as they may wish to address those issues. As you know, we recently also announced our assistance in the Chernovoda nuclear project, which will double the electrical capacity generated by the Chernovoda nuclear plant. We were going to take the lead in refurbishing one nuclear reactor and building two others. It's an $8 billion project, and U.S. Exim Bank will finance approximately $7 billion of that. It's an enormous project. It's going to make Romania a truly energy sufficient country and allow for economic development and growth. Speaking of economic development and growth, the other major area, which for reasons we don't need to get involved in, is the offshore gas production, which up until now has not been developed sufficiently. There's a company called BSOG that's putting a pipe under the water now. They just went in several weeks ago to connect one of its offshore platforms to bring gas to shore from the Black Sea. There's another major field which will commence doing similar work, hopefully next year. Prior laws prevented the full development of the offshore fields. And once that happens, Romania will be one of the major energy producers in Europe. This year, Romania was the #2 oil and gas producer in Europe. Once the Black Sea fields come online, Romania will become #1 by far. It's very important for Romania's economic development that this happen as quickly as possible. It's also very important that the railroad and the highway from the port of Constanța be built as quickly as possible, because Constanța, which is the best port on the Black Sea, could double, triple, quadruple in capacity if the appropriate infrastructure was there to allow the containers to come in and out.
Since we're talking about infrastructure, you know that Iași is orphan of a highway. You're better informed than I or we are. Do you have any information on this project? Are we going to get a highway anytime soon?
Well, I think Minister Bode, the transportation minister, is the better person to ask on that. But in my discussions with him, many highway projects have been undertaken. The same issue was posed to the minister by Ford in Craiova. They needed a highway to help develop the car factory there. Iași needs a road. The minister and the prime minister are very well aware of that. They have built endless miles or kilometers, I suppose, as you say here, kilometers of highway. Some have been opened already. Some will be opened in the near future. I am certain that a highway from Iași will be built in the near future.
So
I don't have any specifics on it, but if there is a road, a highway to Poland, to Gdansk, I am sure there'll be a connector to Iași from it. It's absolutely necessary. So
the time is very cheap with us, so we only have 5 minutes left.
I'm sorry.
Since you talked about Ford, I want to talk to you about Delphi, which operates in Iași, and it has had the highest turnover in the county. Could we witness the arrival of another company, investor of this caliber, of an American company?
I hope the answer to that is yes. I think my answer to that has to go back to what I said a few minutes ago about the rule of law, transparency in corporate investments, and the ability of investors in Romania to feel confident that the rule of law will be obeyed when it comes to their investments, the safety of their investments, and also the ease of doing business here. This has been a subject that I've discussed at length with the government. Reforms are necessary. A lot of the vestiges and remnants of the prior government, which created impediments, the vestiges, again, of the Red Barons, endemic corruption, and other less than transparent barriers to doing business in Romania have to be eliminated. There's no two ways about it. The other problem is Romania still has the highest number of state-owned companies in Europe. It has approximately 1,200 wholly state-owned companies. It has another several hundred that are partially state-owned. You need to privatize these companies. The state cannot do business as well as a truly private company. And it has to be a privatization process that is transparent and fair, that does not go to any favored person or any insider. I think that once that happens, Romania's economy will explode. I believe Romania will be an economic leader in Europe. I've said it many times this year. I think this is the beginning of the Romanian Renaissance. But the key to all of this is the rule of law and transparency and putting an end to the corrupt practices of the former communist government and some of the leftovers from the prior government.
Mr. Ambassador, I would like to address a question, but not to the function, not to the nation you represent, but to the person, Adrian Zuckerman. How was your experience in Romania since you left more than 5 decades ago?
Don't tell him how
2
long
decades
it's been.
ago.
Seems like yesterday.
Seems like yesterday. It was a privilege for us to have you in the set, but also as an ambassador, because we know that this year you're going to be heading back home, the other home. And we would like to ask you, what was it that you liked best here, to your second home?
Well, the Romanian people are just fantastic. I enjoyed everybody I've met. They could not have been nicer or more welcoming to me. And it's not quite certain when I'm heading home. So for those of you who, people like Sputnik, who may hope I'm going home sooner than expected, I'm sorry to disappoint them. It may not happen as quickly as they wish. So I do want to thank the Romanian people for making me feel so welcome and at home. They could not have been nicer.
You were also very nice to us and Telium, the television you're at. It was an honor to have you here. I would say that for us it was just amazing to have somebody we could talk to so naturally and without the rigorosity of the function. So we are welcoming you no matter what type of title you are going to have in front of your name. It was a real pleasure, Mr. Zuckerman.
I thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here with you today.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was the first edition of the season. We thank you for watching Tele-M and we invite you next week here in the backstage.